Hello and welcome to another educational video about screen printing by Katzs Productions. Thanks a lot for clicking on my video today. I truly appreciate your time and attention very much. And if you like what you see, you like my videos, you like the tips, the advice, then please make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already. That means a lot to me and it helps me keep producing these videos free right here on YouTube. So please subscribe today. Alright, so today's video is a quick tips video, and I thought we would talk about what is stencil drag and what causes it, or what are the common causes of it, and how can you prevent it. I guess by discussing the causes, we'll kind of know how to prevent it, right? So let's take a quick look at this screen and see if I can explain to you what stencil drag is and how that would affect your print in a bad way. Okay, this may be a challenge, so let me try to explain what stencil drag is. Basically, what causes stencil drag, there's a few reasons, but it's too much friction between the squeegee blade and the screen mesh, or your stencil. Okay? So, what happens, and remember I'm doing this for demonstrative purposes only, the screen is not locked in, and I'm going to show you how it moves, but what's really moving is the mesh. The mesh in the frame flexes. It can flex due to excessive friction on, from the squeegee blade on the emulsion coated screen, or what we call your stencil, right? So the friction pushes the mesh one way or the other depending on your print stroke. For a push stroke, a print stroke, push print stroke, right? The mesh will flex that way. And the design actually moves a little like that. It'll flex to and then back. And it's not the screen that's moving, it's just the mesh. It's flexing, just like that. Okay? On a pull stroke, it's less likely, but if it does cause stencil drag, the stencil mesh in the screen will flex this way. Okay? It'll go up instead. Okay? So that means that what's happening is, right, the excess friction between the squeegee blade and the screen mesh, that friction is causing the stencil and the screen mesh to flex back and forth, depending on what print stroke you use. Okay? Now, there's a couple common reasons that friction is excessive, and one is maybe you're using a squeegee that's too big for the print, and we're just kind of pushing around too much ink and everything than we need to. So that's why we always choose a squeegee that's about 1/2 inch over on each side. Okay, that's the first thing. So the squeegee size in relation to the stencil, we only want it to be about 1/2 inch over on each side. The second thing that could possibly give you massive stencil drag is if the ink is really thick, and your print stroke, you know what I'm saying, a plastisol ink that's really, really thick can increase that flex in the screen and cause the stencil drag, okay, depending on your print stroke, going forward or this way, whatever print stroke you do, pull or push, okay? And the third thing that will cause stencil drag, quite frankly, is just too much pressure on your print stroke. That's it. Too much pressure on your print stroke, whether you do it pull or push, is going to cause too much friction, too much pressure, and the screen is going to flex this way or that way, depending on your print stroke. So the design actually goes this way on a push stroke, and on a pull stroke it would come up this way. Okay? So that's what stencil drag is, and the most common reasons that it happens. And of course, very important, don't forget that I sell screen printing equipment and supplies online at katzscreenprintsupply.com and right here in Phoenix, Arizona, in the Katzs Productions Phoenix area storefront. Check out my websites for hours of operation and the location. And remember, I am an authorized Ranar dealer, and I offer free shipping anywhere in the continental United States on all major Ranar equipment purchases. Plus, I also offer the Katzs lifetime guarantee on all Ranar presses. So check out my offerings at katzscreenprintsupply.com. Okay, so hopefully now that I've explained what stencil drag is, that the stencil itself, the mesh, is flexing due to excessive pressure or friction between the squeegee and the screen mesh. Now, what does that do? Well, you can probably imagine that if the stencil, when you do your print stroke, if it's moving like this and coming back, right, the mesh is flexing, then you're going to have a loss of resolution in detail, most often on the bottom edges of the design, okay? And vice versa, if you experience any stencil drag on a pull print stroke, then the loss of resolution that you'll likely see will be on the top edges of the lines because the stencil is going like this. Okay, and what else does that mean really? Well, what it actually means is to say you have it lined up right on this line, right? But when you do, like you do a push stroke and you have too much stencil drag, the print is actually going to end up down here a little bit. And of course I'm exaggerating all this, right? But you see what I'm saying? If we lined this up and locked it in like this on this line, my little grid system that I use, you know, that you've seen in the past. All right, we lock this screen in and say I do a really, really hard print stroke, really, really bad, and I do, you know, do it on purpose even. You're going to notice that the print will actually be a little bit lower than where you lined it up. Okay, so what you can guess what that means as well. Not only is it going to cause that loss of resolution and a little bit of fuzziness and you know, loss of the crispness around the edges of the design, but it's also going to cause possibly registration issues when you do a multicolor job. So, you know what I'm saying? If your stencil drag is too much on one screen than it is on another, you'll end up getting a gap in the registration. If you can follow that, if that makes sense from explaining it just like this, I hope. Okay, so basically there's two things that stencil drag really does. It causes a loss of resolution, maybe on a one color. Okay, it could cause a loss of resolution, a loss of crispness, the edges, the lines. Okay, and secondly, on a multicolor, not only might it cause a loss of resolution, but it might also cause registration issues between colors if the stencil drag is so much that it's pulling the colors apart. Okay, and that's one reason why we really try never to do a print stroke this way and this way, even though I've done that in one of my videos because I was compensating for some stencil drag because I had some black ink that was really thick and it was just crazy. So I actually did a fill, you know, I actually let it bleed out both ways to fill it in using that stencil drag by doing this and then doing this. But you really never want to do that. On any given print job, you always want to use the same print stroke direction, whether you're doing a pull stroke or a push stroke. That way, any stencil drag that you experience is actually in the same direction, and you should be able to compensate for it predictably. Thanks a lot for watching my video today. I hope this quick tips video helped you out. Please remember, if you like my videos, rate, thumbs up, comment below, and please subscribe. And make sure to check out my offerings at katzscreenprintsupply.com, where I sell screen printing equipment and supplies. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.